Welcome back, you game changers and people that are up to something. This is the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Sir Chad Everett Broshears, to some, if you know, you know, and or Chad Everett Broshears, to the majority. Today's conversation is, first off, I'm going to get into, the good news to the great news about the crap you're going through right now, or whenever you find yourself really stepping in a little bit of life's crap, because it happens. Especially if you're playing a big game, you do step in some pretty big piles of crap. Now, so if you want to experience massive, rewards, you do have to be ready to take big losses. The thing is, the big losses typically and almost always show up before the big gains, the massive gains, the enormous gains. And you just got to play the game, and it's just the same. I mean, you go to the casino and you sit down and you put money down. If you never gambled before, you're going to lose a bit often. You might get a streak of luck occasionally, but so is the same for life. Here's the thing that I've realized for a lot of people: they really like to play this thing safe, and that's okay. You don't have to be up to a big game either. Just play life safe. It's okay. And then there's other people that don't want to do it. And just because you may not have the desire to play life really safe or play it too crazy, you're still going to step in some pretty big piles of crap along the way. The beautiful thing about it is, if you know that other people are going through it, you can at least say, hey, other people have been challenged and they've gone through some crap. So, all right, here's the thing. Let me go ahead and tell you just a little bit about exactly how to frame the Maturity Project and exactly what it works on specifically, because you have life changers out there. You have people like Andrew Tate, although I know some people cringe whenever he said, look, he may not be your flavor, but just enjoy the fact that the man exists and he's doing something, and you can enjoy the fact that that man is up to something. You don't have to line up with him. You don't need to actually pledge any allegiances or anything like that. I'm actually not a big fan of pledging allegiance to anything other than the country that I'm in. Got no problem doing that here for the United States. But anyway, now there are people like, Jordan Peterson, amazing human being, beautiful human being. I am incredibly grateful he's out there. Huge supporter. Love following the man's work. You've got people like, Tony Robbins, another great life changer. You've got these people all over the place. You've got motivational speakers, Les Brown. You've got people like, and if you don't know any of these people, start looking them up, man. They're just fantastic. I'm definitely not somebody's going to say, hey, if you watch me, therefore you are mine. No, God, no. I like dialogue, man. I love to talk to people and to see life through different perspectives. So if you follow other people, you pick up other stuff. There's in the physical world. I love Paul Chek. I think he's amazing. Some of the things I don't agree with, but if you find out who he is and all of that, you'll probably see some of the things, and watch me and you'll see where I don't line up necessarily. Spent a lot of time in the fitness industry. Learned a lot from that man. And so grateful he's here on this planet doing what he's doing. But what the Maturity Project is these other people work in their specific niches, and those niches are fantastic and they're great. Tony Robbins in life transformation motivates people to make changes in their life, and he works in that world very well. And his devotees, they do what they do, and they see that they can face fears and work their way through it and get on the other side of fear and see the champion that they are when they get past dealing with the shit that's slowing them down, the hardships that they're in. Jordan Peterson working on the details about human beings and exactly how to change things and look at things in a different perspective, being that he is a psychologist, a doctor of psychology, and worked in the university in Canada. A beautiful human being. He has such an ability to articulate how to get to the next level. Andrew Tate teaches in the world of masculinity and bringing people from being weakened men or boys and turning them into masculine men. You can be upset about that all you want, but I can tell you right now, there's a lot of women that aren't upset about that. They want a man back in this life. And I appreciate that he's doing it. He's not always my flavor, and I've said that before, and I say it again. But I appreciate what he's doing. I am inside of that pendulum somewhere to appreciate him to the degrees that I do. There's nothing wrong with appreciating all these people, but the Maturity Project focuses more on the fulfillment of life. They work on specific goals and other aspects. They work on fulfillment as well. But what we typically do is we get so caught up in becoming an expert of something or really broadening our horizons on things that we start losing sight of the insights that actually give second to second value, that end up giving us areas to really focus on while we neglect others. Well, the Maturity Project is focusing on 8 areas of maturity that help us become more well-rounded and fulfilled in each one of those areas. And it really facilitates a solid foundation to be highly functional in. I'm going through it. I'm, as I've said many times before, I am not at the top of my game. I'm at the top of my game right now, and I'm dealing with life circumstances the way that they are. But who I am becoming is what you're watching. This is becoming more and more of an education that is more active in people's lives, so people that follow the channel, that listen and watch and all of that. I'm hearing feedback that it's starting to click in places where they're starting to see some things that are different. You will see in the process of this, as you watch my growth and my maturity in this, is products and opportunities for people to start getting into this in a way that changes are occurring. You're invested in change, and how to get you invested in change. That's up to me to come up with the right kind of systems for that. And you're watching it. Actually, now I have something for you. Again, if you email me at yourmaturityproject@gmail.com, and that is YOUR maturityproject.com, yourmaturityproject.com. I'm sorry, gmail.com. Again, that is YOUR maturityproject@gmail.com. I will send you over the document. It's more what I have been talking about, but it gives you a place to read on a regular basis, start your day, understand those different areas, and it gives you more functionality because you have something to look at and prime yourself for. I prime myself all the time. Every single morning, I'm out to prime myself to make the biggest changes for that day, to put that 1% change in on a daily basis. And I'm patient enough to deal with it so that I know I'm making progress. So if you email me, I'll send you over a copy of that, and then it's yours. So print it out. I would say print it out, put it someplace first thing in the morning, bathroom, mirror, in your closet, whatever. Just put it someplace so you can at least say, hey, these are the 8 areas of maturity, and what am I going to address today, and how am I going to develop myself? Because life's going to happen. Things are going to get shitty. They always do. And then they get really good. The way that I look at it is when you hit those real lows, you've got a bigger upswing coming, and you're earning credit for that because you're paying attention to what the hell you're going through. You are becoming better because you're forging your diamond. If life's going normal and that's fine too. What is it you want? Because as soon as you make up your mind to play a big game, you're going to start realizing where you're going to need to put your work, and you're going to feel the low, and then you'll get high, and then you'll get low, and then you get high, because you're going to have to try out the stuff that you're learning and put it into real practice. It can't be just a hindsight conversation where most people just settle at, oh, I'm going to do this better next time. It's also why I'm not a fan of advice. Don't give advice. I like to give insights. That's what I do. I like to give my insights, but it's not advice. You need to come up with your own advice, but you can use my insights to start seeing it. That's why I really am not an advocate for advice. I think that it's irresponsible most of the time, because most people just don't understand what the hell they're advising. They just see it from their perspective or what limited insights they have for the other person, and then give them something with some sort of conviction. Do it. Please do it, because I need to have you try it out, because I haven't done it yet, and I'm so vested, and I'll remind you of that later whenever we have our next conversation. Even if you've resolved that through other means, I'm going to want you to go back to it, because damn it, I want you to take my advice. Yeah, I'm no fan of that, but I do love giving insights, and I love giving the insights from my perspective, because it does help me grow and develop, because I get to go back, revisit that situation, and consider that there might be more opportunities there. Keep turning over the treasure chest. You're going to find more. That's how I look at the experiences in life, especially whenever they resonate with somebody else in the conversation, because then I can say, hey, I have this as a conclusion to what I went through, but at the same time, let's go back and revisit it, and I get new insights. I love it. It's a beautiful way of actually continuing to grow between myself and other people. So life happens. It gets shitty. The Maturity Project's about the fulfillment of things, which is when you go through shitty. By the way, to have a fully fulfilled life, you have to understand how to appreciate the shitty stuff as well as the good times. And how do you appreciate all the stuff in the middle? That's the fulfillment of life, where you really have a really rich life. Some people are really good at things and they retire young and then they got all kinds of stuff to get up to. But I got to tell you, one of the worst things to do in life is not to have a purpose. It just sucks. That's why I left atheism, because they're purposeless people and somebody else gives them their purpose. It's silly as fuck. Like, I watched the most ridiculous things happen in 2020 because people were purposeless. A lot of people that are religious, at least they have God to be purposeful for. Now, it doesn't mean without God you can't be purposeful, but most people just don't seem to have a lot of purpose. Something that really motivates them, that impassions them, that live. When life's hard, you still hold on to it. No matter what, you know life is awesome and you're going to get through this shit because you're focused on your purpose. But if you don't have that purpose, when you get into stuff, it really gets kind of dark. It gets sad. It gets challenging. It gets to the point where you feel more defeated easily. It also happens whenever you refuse to face lessons, because lessons keep showing up, man. They show up on a regular basis. And when you catch yourself going, I'm so tired of going through this shit, you are refusing a lesson, and that's where your work is. Get to it. And the maturity project's about that. It's about that fulfillment. It's how do you start navigating things, give yourself a break for once, and to understand, hey, you know what? When I was 8 years old, this thing happened. And the girl I liked told me no. She didn't like me. And I'm like, damn it, that really sucks. And you stop trying. Kids do that. And then you're 12. I like you. And you learn certain ways to get people's attention and to like you, but it's not a whole way of doing it. It's not the full way of doing it. It is a way of doing it that works. But there's still other things, right? Like, you can get really good at getting people to like you, but you don't have the depth and richness of relationships that seem to have that reward you notice other people have. It's as simple as this. People that have been married for 30 years and you've been married for 5, or you've been married a couple of times and divorced. What is it they have you didn't? Probably more of a well-rounded experience. Also, partners fall out too, but who made the decision to marry that person? Who's the one that helped work through the problems that the other person has? And where were your limitations whenever that relationship started really needing you and you couldn't fulfill on that part of the relationship? I'm not making everybody who's gone through divorce wrong. I'm saying go back and look at it and see for yourself if there's something there. Now, if you use the 8 areas of maturity, you can start looking back at those things and say, okay, I can see where I could have actually done something differently. I mean, somebody made the choice to marry you. They loved you enough to say, I'm committing to you. And then something changed. And when did it change? How did it change? And what part did you play in that change? Now, again, I'm not faulting you for it. I'm just saying, look at it. Just revisit it and see if there's something there that could be different. What if one of the areas of maturity you neglected in developing yourself and you could not give that to your partner, but now that you're divorced, you have started developing some of those areas, and you just look back going, why couldn't they have just loved me for this? Well, because you weren't that. That's what the maturity project's about, is the fulfillment in life. Now, I'm not telling you're going to become a billionaire with this, but you possibly could. I don't know. I don't have any idea. But the point of it is not that. The point of it is that, hey, we can do things different. You get what you've always done because you don't do anything to make anything different. And you're waiting for life to have the circumstances to come along and push something different into your life. But if you're not developing yourself, what's going to happen is something comes up and you're not prepared for it. By the way, I love to tell people this. And I constantly remind myself of this. Life has the wheel of fortune, and it's turning, and it's a big wheel. The more developed you are, the more opportunities you see for fortune on that wheel, and the more it comes your way. But you have to do the work to see it for yourself in order to start seeing those things. It's always all around you. It's how equipped are you to deal with it. First, you've got to see it. And then from there, when you see it, you can see opportunity and chance. And then what skills do you have in order to take advantage of that opportunity, to seize the moment, to carpe diem? So you have to develop yourself for that. Nobody else will. And if you do it because somebody else has forced you to, you're probably not going to be able to use those lessons the same because you've been forced into it. It's like quitting smoking. It just isn't the same. And you're probably going to wait for your opportunity to sneak away, to get a little smoke, to get your itch fix. So you're not likely going to be able to use that lesson the same. But when you willingly accept the fact that something needs to change, then you start looking at how does it change. Now, I have written, it's a giveaway. If you are interested in, the mature guide to dating for professional women, or the mature guide for dating for professional men, I do have a giveaway for that. It's free. You just have to email me to tell me you're interested in it and why you're interested in it. It's nothing major. You don't need to be too intrusive. Just help me understand where you're coming from, and I might be able to start sending you some things that'll help, or make some episodes for you that are helpful in this. Now, I'm not going to go too far into it. You're not a client. It's just to give you something to start working your way through that. You might become a client at some point in time, but right now, that's not what I'm focusing on. All I'm focusing on right now is just, hey, I want to give you something that works, something that it works if you use it. So it's the mature guide to dating for professional women or for professional men. How do you start understanding where people are coming from and qualify in those 8 different areas to see if you even align in them? It's great for subjects for conversations, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth dates. You don't have to use the exact questions that are on there, but you start framing how to start talking about certain things in a way that you really do extract what's important to you. So just email me, yourmaturityproject@gmail.com, and I'll send that over to you. Okay. Now, with the roller coaster of life, and the good news, great news is this: it's simple. Life's happening. It's going to get shitty. Everything does. You lose somebody, something happens. You get a profession change. You find out somebody doesn't, care for you the same way as they used to. Life's just going to happen. You meet somebody new and you realize that you really like them more than the person you're with. Hey, it still happens, even if you don't want your partner to do it, but it happens to you. It still happens. How do you handle that, and what do you do, and what do you honor in the commitment? It can come down to how mature are you. If you want to put in the work, you're going to change things. That's as simple as it gets. This stuff is alive and active in my life on every day and daily basis. Every single day, I am actively putting this into practice. And I'm dealing with the way life's coming at me. And I know that if I focus too hard on one area, I'm going to lose sight of the others, but I have to go based on priority. And I'm not going to neglect the others for long if I have to. I'm not going to lose sight of who I am because of what I got to go through. You can actually gain that same access with the Maturity Project because it gets you more anchored in where you're at. It's not a success overnight. Nothing is. And if somebody tells you that they can do that, they are liars. There is no magic wand. There is no immediate pill. But I will tell you that 1% on a daily basis, you will thank me in a year. Guarantee it, promise you. You do the work 1% every single day, you will be a different person by next year. I guarantee it. Now, you do have to qualify how different you are, but you're going to be in that the whole time. So 1% on a daily basis, you're going to realize major changes when you look back. Because in 1 year, 1%, that's a whole lot of change versus trying to do a whole lot right away and burn out. Or experience too much transition stress. Transition stress is anytime you make change from one thing to another, there will be an association to a specific amount of stress that is there, and it will always happen. There's always transition stress. The question is how much and what can you tolerate? And then you can start calibrating it and seeing how much more mature you are because you start understanding what kind of changes you're going through so that you can have the differences and you understand how much you can take on in a single time. And you understand how much you actually have stabilized your foundation so that you can deal with problems and challenges in life. I personally have a very high tolerance threshold for change and for risk. Very high. It's innate in me. It's just it's how I am. I take on risks. I do not say because I do, you have to. You take on small amounts every day, but life will change. You're going to have the ups. By the way, the ups are just as challenging as the downs. It's just we give some sort of value to the down because that's where we put our focus and go, shit, I don't like this. But when you're at the top and you're like, wee, top of the roller coaster, you're not thinking that this could actually screw me up whenever I hit my downs or that this is distracting me because I'm up here, wee, life's happening and I'm having a great time. That starts changing the baseline of what you expect great to be. So whenever it changes, you also have lost track of some other things. And it's not bad. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just human nature. But when you can stabilize with those 8 areas of maturity, and it's mostly just knowledge, you know what's happening. So therefore you can do something with it. You got something great there, man. That's sweeter than you. I got that from the Kingpin, by the way. The movie Kingpin. That's great. It's weird you, son. Anyway, all right. Well, hey, just send me over an email if you'd like to get those documents. Again, there is a foundation of the Maturity Project, and then there's two different ones for professional dating, the Mature Guide to Professional Dating for Men and Women. If you want them, fantastic. I'll send it over. It's really simple and it's basic, but it gives you some place to start with, and it does give you something that really will be impactful because simple does it. It'll get more complex as time goes on. You'll get more depth and reward out of it. But first and foremost, let's get you to the basics. Let's get you to the foundation. So just send me over an email. I'm happy to do it. Okay. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close it up for today. We got a lot to do. Life's not going to stop happening around us. There's no better time than right now. Because if you do 1% difference right now, yeah, I promise you in a year from now, things are going to be really different. It will always happen that way. It's just, you may not be at the top of the hill in a year, but I promise you, you're learning what it takes to be at the top of the hill. Because it's just shit's going to happen. How you handle it, that's going to make the bigger difference. You get to the point you can handle all of this with grace, man, you're going to be so happy. It's going to make a big difference. But you do have to develop yourself. Grace is a gift of maturity. Be able to handle every situation that comes your way in life by grace. Everybody will know you're a different person. That's how it works. All right. Again, I'm Chad Everett Broshears, or Sir Chad Everett Broshears. If you know, you know. This is the Maturity Project. Join me in the process. It's a beautiful thing. Let's get up to something. The world's still calling for us. It needs us. We need to work on ourselves before we get out there and make a mess like everybody else. All right. The path to hell is paved with good intentions. And right now, our society seems to want a super highway to get there. Let's be the interrupters, okay? All right. Let's get up to it. Share the video with the person in your life you want to break the ice with. And thanks, Tina. It's my dog jumping up on the couch here. Yeah. Share this video with the person in your life you want to break the ice with and start a meaningful conversation. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It does help me. And eventually it's just going to get to the point that there's a return on that beyond just one more, and also that's how many more lives are changing, because you can be the person that makes a lot of difference in other people's lives too. Like the video, help it with the algorithm. Put the comments in the comment section, man. I love getting those. All right. Till next time. I'll catch you later. Let's get up to some stuff. Okay. Let's do it together. Let's go.